Welcome to the Museum of Ancient China. Here we have many inventions made by the ancient Chinese people. Some of these inventions include the abacus, silk, the compass, paper, calligraphy, and the seismograph.
Now, each of these inventions are still used today, or they're modified to work better. For each invention/accomplishment, one person will explain it in further depth. We have multiple experts here to explain it, such as Philip.
And I'll be doing the abacus.
I'll be doing paper. And expert Cody Ruth will tell you about the compass. Expert Aaron Wang will tell you about Chinese calligraphy. Expert Lawrence Chen will explain silk. Expert Brandon Kim will explain the seismograph. Now we'll start with Philip here. He'll explain the abacus. Alright, Philip. Now, why is the abacus important?
Well, it was the first automated computer in the world, made in the Ming Dynasty by Chen Dawei.
Interesting.
It was used to calculate mathematical equations. Cool. This machine could be used in many ways, and the abacus helped the Chinese people because it allowed people to easily make calculations because it was awkward to make calculations using Roman numerals.
So Philip, can you demonstrate how the abacus works?
Sure. So this is a Chinese abacus. There's a lot of rods here, the bar in the middle. This is like the counting bar, I guess.
What's the counting bar? This bar that separates?
Yeah, this bar. Okay. And so each of these stacks of beads, they represent a place value. I'll explain later. And I'd like a table to do my work on, please.
Oh, sure. I'll just sell them. Okay.
Whoosh. Oh my gosh, it's so magical.
I know.
It was just like,
oh.
Okay. So now that I have a magical table, I'll demonstrate how it's worked. Okay, so as I said before, each of the bars, each of the stacks represent a place value, and the bar in the middle is the counting bar. So in order to count a number, you move a bead from the stack, and so first I'll explain what each of the steps represent. So these two are the decimal places. This is the tenths, and this is the hundredths. So if you wanted to count 1/10, you could move one bead to the counting bar and it'd be counted. If you want to do 11 hundredths, and you can move the 1/10th bead and the 1/1 bead here, like that.
And that gets you 11 hundredths?
Yeah. And then these represent 5 of the place value. So 5 hundredths would be this. And then 55 hundredths would be
each bead represents 5.
Yeah, each of these top ones. And then each of them can so like this abacus, it can be used to do different calculations, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So in order to add, first, like say you want to do 5 plus 7. So you take the ones place, which is here, and you put a 5, and that'd be 5. And then to add 7, you take one more, and then add another one to make 7. So there's 2, you bring this here, you bring that, and then you'd have 12.
So basically, if 2 of the fifths are there, that means 10, right? And so you'll bring this down, and that brings it up to a 10th digit. That'll give it a 10th digit.
Yes.
Interesting.
Now for subtraction. Let's say you wanted to do, let's say
this 12 minus 5.
12 minus 5. What you do is you'd just take 5 away by going like this. So this is how you do it. So you'd replace Since you can't take 5 small beads out of these 2 beads, you replace this 10 bead with 2 5 beads, like this.
In the previous, okay.
And then you take 5 away, and you be left with 7. So it's pretty simple. Now for multiplication. And now for multiplying. So multiplying is just adding numbers repeatedly. So like 2 times 4, it'd be just 2. It'd be 1, 2, 2 2s, 3, and 4. Now when you reach 5 ones, you replace that, you bring the 5 down and replace it with a 5 bead. You can do the same with higher numbers, such as...
Oh, what was your, you had...
I had this 500 and this 3 counter, which creates 8.
So, yeah, 2 times 4 equals 8. Interesting.
You can do the same with higher numbers, such as 5 times 12. Take 5, break that with a 10. That's already 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you get 60. Because this is 5 tens and this is 1 10.
Interesting.
So now for the division. Division is basically the same thing as multiplication, but completely backwards, otherwise known as repeated subtraction. So first, to do 8 divided by 2, you do 8.
You start off with a number?
Yeah, you start out with a number, and you take 2 away until you have 0 left. And you count the number of times you take it away. So that's like 2, that's 1. And then you take 1 away, and then you replace that with 5. Because you only took 1 away, you take another 1 away. And then that's 2, take 3, 4. So 8 divided by 2 is 4.
You basically subtracted 2 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the best thing about this abacus device is you can do equations and stuff without using our paper and being a waste.
Paper. Now, that concludes our session on the abacus. Thank you, Philip, for that wonderful explanation. And 再见.
Bye.
再见 meaning bye in Mandarin. So, as you know, I'm the expert on paper. I have paper today, obviously, well, and in ancient China, paper was used to write messages. People wrote messages on paper and sent it to each other as communication. It also, they recorded everyday instances on paper, but the unique thing about it is that they made paper, and they were the only civilizations to make paper this way. So, can I have my setup? I'll demonstrate for you guys how to make paper.
But there's only an abacus.
Right.
Wow. Magical hands bringing in paper supplies.
Yes. Now, what they did first to make paper was they first started off with bark from trees or pieces of bamboo or even old nets, fishing nets. Now, what they did first was they soaked it in water. There's water in this cup, and what they did was they soak it until it was soft. And once it was soft, it was all ready. So they would mash it up. Thank you. They would mash it all up until it turned into a pulp-like substance. Now what they did with this pulp was they had screens that were the desired size of their paper, right? And they poured that pulp onto that paper, and the pulp would fill up the paper and dry up. And once it dried up, it became paper. So that's how they made paper. And that concludes our paper making. Now, paper was really important in China because, you know, they wrote on paper. Like they illustrated, they wrote stories on paper. They communicated with paper. So yeah, that's our paper session. And thank you for your time.
One more thing, paper was useful because it was portable and durable at the same time.
Right.
So now with your new abacus and paper, you can make the abacus paper combo and be the most popular kid at school. Yeah.
Thank you. Now that concludes our paper session.
Okay, well, sorry about this, but we had to move studios, so now we're back in the old one. Okay, now back to the show.
And now for silk.
Well, for starters, silk is a soft cloth made from silkworm string. Silk helped the Chinese because it was a comfortable cloth and had high market value, which increased the economy of China.
Wow, that is so interesting. Tell us more.
Silk was a great product for trading and worn as a fancy fabric. Here's a silk vest.
What else was it good for?
Silk is useful in hot and cold environments. It was a great product for trading.
Well, how was silk made?
First, the cocoons from the silkworms were put in hot water so that they would soften up and could be used to make silk filaments. Then, the filaments are combined and twisted together to make the threads thicker. Lastly, these threads could be sewed to make textiles and dresses such as this.
Okay then. Next up, we have Aaron with calligraphy.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, what the heck? So, well, I'll tell you a little bit about Chinese calligraphy. Well, Chinese calligraphy is art with brush and ink and is widely practiced within China, Korea, Japan, and Vietnam. It was helpful to the Chinese because it was a form of writing and it had widespread use. So if people were to write letters, other people would be able to understand it instead of needing to translate it to their own language. Also, it was convenient because all they needed was a paper and a utensil instead of like a clay tablet or something. So, yeah.
So it's pretty famous, huh? Tell me more about this calligraphy.
Chinese calligraphy and ink and wash painting are closely related since they are accomplished using similar tools and techniques.
Okay, now I kind of understand how calligraphy is a type of art. Say, how is the ink made? It seems pretty important and advanced.
Its main ingredient is inkstone and it was used during 4000 BC. Traditionally, you need to use a brush to write calligraphy and it is written only in black ink, but modern calligraphers sometimes use color.
Interesting. What else can you tell us about calligraphy?
Another thing is that ink is made from lamp black soup and comes in as an ink stick, which must be rubbed in with water on an inkstone until you get the right color. There were many tools that people used to write with. The main one and the most important thing was the brush. Then there was a seal carving. A seal carving is made with traditional materials, including bronze, stone, wood, and ivory. Anything was carved. Some people have gotten good results with fir and pine. Then people would carve designs into the material, and there you have it, a seal carving. It would act as a stamp or a marker. Okay. Wait, where'd Brandon go?
Oh, I just want to get into the Chinese mood.
Wait, wasn't that my club? Oh, never mind.
Okay, can you give us an example of calligraphy?
Example coming in. So we have some nice calligraphy here.
Yeah, very nice.
Calligraphy.
I think we've had enough.
Had enough.
Yeah.
This thing goes on forever.
Get out of here.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to get some calligraphy.
What, you gonna do the same to me? Be nice to him.
Yeah, you two, get out of here.
Oh, shoot! Ow!
Well, good riddance. Now we have Cody, Ruth, and the compass.
Hello!
Well, Cody, don't you think it's a little dull and boring in here?
It is dark.
Lights. Music.
Entertainment.
Yes.
Well, the compass was a great invention. It told people the direction they were going in. Also, it is still used today.
Who exactly invented the compass?
The compass was invented by Chinese fortune tellers.
Interesting. Tell us more on how it worked.
Well, the way it worked was that there was a magnetized material called lodestone that pointed in the direction south. The plate was made of bronze. This helped campers find the way they were going.
No wonder it's still used today.
Well, duh, because it's so awesome. Like me.
Well, we can't be sure about that. Well, that's very interesting. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes. This absolutely amazing device was made during the Qin dynasty. Obviously, being lost is something you never want. The compass will save you. This really helped the Chinese a lot.
It sure seems that the compass was a great invention.
Sure was.
And finally, for my invention, the seismograph. The seismograph was an invention used to measure shakes in the ground. It can warn people for the future of earthquakes. This was helpful for the Chinese because if they knew where an earthquake was, they could flee, allowing them not to be killed by an earthquake.
Yeah, that would be bad.
You know what? You're too boring. Get off my show!
Boring? You know, I am going to get off this show. Not because you said so, but because you're so rude.
Now where's my sub-host, Tyler Lee? Is he still sleeping? Good morning, Tyler. How you doing?
Paper.
Here you go.
So, tell me a little bit more about your seismograph.
The way this machine worked was that each dragon had a small bronze ball in its mouth. Whenever there was a shaking nearby, the mouth of the dragon would open and drop the ball into one of the frogs below.
That doesn't sound very complex. Tell me, when exactly was the seismograph made?
It's actually much more complex than you think. I just didn't know if you would be able to understand this complexity.
I can understand fine, man. You think I'm stupid?
No, of course not.
So now, tell me how it really works then.
As you wish. Here it goes. There's a pendulum
Pendulum? I'm not stupid.
inside a vase. This pendulum keeps balance. When there is shaking, the pendulum will naturally swing away from the source. However, since it keeps balance, it'll swing back and knock a rod. The rod is pushed against the ball just beside a hole in a dragon's mouth. When the pendulum knocked the rod, the ball would fall out of the mouth and into a frog underneath the dragon's mouth.
Wow, that's great. Just so, yeah.
Yes, it is. The mystery is, why didn't the pendulum swing by when people walked by, but picked up only the seismic waves? Scientists are still trying to figure out how it works.
But can't they just use an old seismograph to test it?
You are clever, but the seismographs found by archaeologists were all broken, so they didn't know how it really worked.
Oh, well, that's too bad, right? However, if anybody knows how it works, contact your local scientists community immediately. You'll get money.
Well, today we still haven't found the mystery of the ancient seismograph, but we still have a modern seismograph. Ancient China overall will always be a mystery to us. Well, that concludes our show of Ancient Chinese Inventions. So remember, what if you use some daily items like